I really love painting wreaths. On this channel I painted a few of them, but all of them I painted freehand with watercolors. For the card today, however, I wanted to make something different. I decided to create a digital stamp with pumpkins, mushrooms, some leaves and berries. I drew a sketch, made it digital, printed it out, and this is the result. Pretty cool, if I may say, just like I would stamp it. I was also playing with the idea of doing no-line coloring, where I decrease the opacity of the image before printing. For this video, I decided to use the black outline, but later in this video, I will show you also the finished no-line coloring. And for the coloring, I will be using the Zig brush markers. So let's get started. I started with the coloring of the pumpkins. The Zig brush markers are water-based markers. I have the pack of 24 plus a dark red. There are other brands that make such markers, but this is what I have. So use products that you already have or are in your budget. By the way, all the products in this video are either purchased by me or, in the case of the image, created by me. And if you would like to see the exact list of the products, just hop over to my blog. You can use these markers as watercolors, but in this case I'm using them as markers without any additional water, well, except of the stems of the mushrooms, where I will be using a water brush for blending. As I said, I started with the coloring of the pumpkins, and only here I used 3 different markers. For the rest, I only used 2 colors, lighter and darker, and the lighter color I used mainly for blending. For the coloring of the pumpkin, I started in the middle or in front. Here I used the darkest shade in the middle, and then I blended in the orange on both sides of the darker strip, and then I blended it out with yellow. And then I was applying the dark shade on the side, what do you call it, section of the pumpkin, blending the lighter colors outwards. You know what is funny? I have never eaten anything made out of pumpkin. Once I tasted pumpkin seeds, which I found horrible. I have also never drunk pumpkin spice latte. I never bought a pumpkin as a decoration, but I still love the look of it. Mushrooms, on the other hand, is something different. I love going to the forest and picking mushrooms. Last year I was finding mushrooms already in mid-August, but this year, because of the heat, I thought it's not going to happen. But as soon as the rain came mid-September, so did the mushrooms. I think I collected already about 30 kilo, and I did not go on a major mushroom hunt, just walking in the forest and picking them along the way. Absolutely awesome. And don't worry, I know the red ones are not edible, but I like to paint them. And to paint the mushrooms, I used the dark and regular red for the top. For the stems, I didn't know what colors to use. What I've seen, the stems are pretty much white. So I used a mixture of light beige, which is a little bit on the pink side, and light gray, and I blended it out with clean water. And for the third mushroom, here in Sweden, it's called Karl Johan. I absolutely love that name. I used dark brown and dark beige for the top, and the bottom I colored the same way as the other 2 mushrooms. I also drew grass, or more like moss, below the mushrooms. Compared to pumpkins, I thought that the mushrooms needed something below them, and I colored it with different shades of green. By the way, the cardstock I'm using is the Bristol cardstock from Canson. I don't have any problems printing on that, and I have a laser printer from Brother. So moving on to the leaves, I will speed it up and play a little bit of music, but first a little information about the colors. I used browns and greens, and also yellow, which I used for blending. It was creating muddy colors, but for autumnal leaves, it's something what I wanted. And for berries, I first added a little bit of brown, and then I went over it with the red. Also, a huge tip or advice, since these are water-based markers, they stay wet for a while. Make sure you dry the area you worked on before moving on to another one. I messed up 3 or 4 times because of smudges. I just did not wait for it to dry, or I thought it was dry and I messed it up. And also I was finding random smudges on the cardstock. No idea how they got there, but at least those smudges I was able to lift up by using clean water, a brush and a paper towel. Alright, I will now play a little bit of music and show you the rest of the coloring, and I will be back once I'm done. So the coloring is done. I really love the colors, very autumnal. And if you like it as well, I would really appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up. Also, as I mentioned, I did the no-line coloring and here is the result. It was a little bit tedious, but good tedious. It just took a little bit longer, but the result is pretty great. And guess what? If you like this drawing, you can download the digital stamp over on my blog. It is completely free to download, at least for now. The link you will find in the description below. But let's finish the cat. There are two things that are missing, which are the greeting and the white dots on the red mushrooms. I will start with the dots. I was going to use a white gel pen, but it was picking up the paint, so I decided to squeeze out white gouache. You can use acrylic paint as well. And I used the white gel pen to do the dots. I dipped the pen in the paint and then created the dots. Just don't forget to clean the pen after you are finished. I just cleaned it with a paper towel. And also, off camera, I die cut the panel using a stitched rectangular die, which is completely optional. For the greeting, I used a stamp that says Best Wishes. It's from an older stamp set by Clearly Besotted, and I stamped it using the VersaFine ink in Onyx Black. I could have added a greeting when printing, but I just wanted to use a stamp for it. I adhere the panel on top of a card base that I made out of a light grey cardstock, and the card is finished. I can't believe I drew this. I have never been someone who draws or even doodles, but hey, stamps are expensive and this is my solution. If you would like to see another card where I used a digital stamp that I drew myself and is also for free to download, just click on the video that is on your screens now. You will find a link to this video in the description below as well. So that is all I have for you today. Thank you for watching and I will see you in my next video.